A somber funeral is held for a 17-year-old boy, his life cut tragically short. Mourners reflect on his frail health, remarking that his passing wasn't entirely unexpected. His favorite book about a slow life is placed with him, a final tribute to his passion. Loved ones gaze at the sky, wistfully hoping the fantasy worlds he cherished were real. The boy suddenly awakens, now with a halo, in a strange realm of broken pillars. He stands confused before a giant hourglass, trying to comprehend where he is. A magnificent winged figure appears, announcing this is the realm of reincarnation. The angelic being explains this is a gateway to new worlds, a concept the boy immediately recognizes. Surprised by his quick understanding, the angel asks if he was already aware of this. The boy breaks into a cold sweat, his intense reaction leaving the celestial guide utterly stunned. His terror melts into tears of pure joy, realizing his ultimate fantasy of being reincarnated is actually happening. The boy's ecstatic breakdown continues, leaving the magnificent angel completely stunned by his over-the-top reaction. Internally, the angel laments getting a loud one, while the boy celebrates his non-cliché death, much to the amusement of other souls. The guide attempts to explain the system of divine blessings, but the boy's feverish excitement shows he's already an expert. He cuts her off with a sudden intensity, demanding to know if he'll receive a cheat skill for an easy, overpowered life. Flustered by his forwardness, the angel directs him to a chair, and he eagerly plops down, declaring his readiness. The celestial being then pushes his simple wooden chair towards the massive, otherworldly device. Now positioned before the grand cosmic scale, he waits patiently as the angel takes a seat beside him. A single glowing particle descends within the apparatus, signaling that his divine blessing is about to be revealed. He is granted the Unlock ability, a skill to open any cursed chest or sealed weapon, paving the way for legendary loot. He inspects the glowing key, realizing his new skill is useful but definitely not overpowered. His dreams of an easy life shatter as he screams in protest, surrounded by visions of mere treasure chests. He collapses in despair, lamenting how a simple lock-picking skill could ever make him a legendary hero. Yet, despite his initial disappointment, his unique ability found constant work among adventurers and treasure hunters. Years later, a bespectacled researcher hires him, revealing a groundbreaking discovery. The man leads him through ancient ruins, explaining he's been investigating a recent find. He then presents his discovery, a massive, unactivated golem that leaves the boy speechless. The researcher reveals he's also a reincarnator, and in his 20 years he's never encountered such a golem. Hearing about a powerful seal, the boy grins with excitement, his disappointment now a distant memory. The man explains the golem is protected by powerful magic, which is precisely why he sought out Mr. Fei's help. Fei confirms the stakes, knowing that activating the golem will make him its master. The scholar happily agrees, his only desire being to witness the legendary machine in action. With the terms settled, Fei summons his glowing key, preparing to get to work. He grins with anticipation, ready to finally use his skill on something truly monumental. A torrent of magical energy erupts as he unleashes his Unlock ability on the ancient seal. The golem's consciousness stirs, aware of its own rarity and the fact that it will soon serve a new master. Fei's eyes gleam with triumph, certain this is the moment his overpowered isekai journey truly begins. Mechanical sounds echo through the ruins as the ancient golem's body shifts and awakens. The seal breaks completely, revealing the fully activated golem standing majestically before them. Overcome with a mix of awe and embarrassment, Fei stumbles through a greeting for his new powerful ally. His triumph is shattered by a sudden violent shove from behind. The researcher's friendly facade drops, revealing a blade aimed at Fei's back. With a sinister grin, the scholar mocks his victim's foolishness, his betrayal now complete. He reveals a critical loophole. If the activator perishes, command of the golem transfers to someone else. Wounded and helpless on the ground, Fei can only curse the man who deceived him. The ancient machine, Danchuo River, announces its activation, awaiting its first command. The treacherous scholar immediately claims ownership, declaring himself the golem's new master. Fei desperately pleads his case from the floor, insisting he is the one who unsealed it. With a glare of pure hatred, he tries to command Danchuo River, identifying the scholar as the enemy. Seeing Fei is still alive, the researcher raises his knife to permanently silence him. Before the researcher can strike, Danchuo River's hammer smashes into him with incredible force. The golem calmly reports the threat is neutralized, awaiting her next order from Master Fei. She turns to her master, only to find him lying motionless on the cold stone floor. Growing concerned, the ancient weapon calls out to Fei but receives no answer. Danchua River stands in silent confusion, guarding the still form of the boy who awakened her. In a flash, Phi awakens with his halo, finding himself back in the strange realm of broken pillars. The magnificent angel is there, utterly shocked to see him back in the reincarnation gateway. He looks at the giant hourglass with no recognition, once again asking where he is. Trying to regain her composure, the angel begins her explanation about sending unjustly killed souls to new worlds. Her patience finally breaks as she confronts him, demanding to know why he has returned so quickly. He angrily explains the obvious reason for his return. He was killed again. The angel asks if he's still not satisfied, to which he vehemently confirms he is not. He demands god-tier cheat skills powerful enough to one-shot dragons, baffling the angel with his gaming terms. With a desperate look, he declares that nothing less than being completely overpowered will satisfy him. The stressed-out angel reminds him that blessings are given out randomly, but he's not listening. Exasperated, she points out this is the place for reincarnation, but scolds him for his lack of gratitude. Ignoring her, he plops back into the chair and impatiently demands to be sent on his way. He clasps his hands together, desperately pleading with the cosmos for a good cheat skill this time. Resigned to her fate, the angel activates the device once more to reveal his next blessing. She reveals his new skill is Provoke, already sensing this is going to be another useless ability. His second reincarnation begins, granting him the Aggro Draw skill, which forces all enemies to target him. He immediately realizes this isn't a cheat ability but a certified death wish. Years later, his taunt skill finally proves useful as he leads a massive dragon away from a village. But as the beast closes in, he screams in frustration, lamenting that this is not the overpowered life he wanted. Suddenly, a mysterious cat-like girl appears in the sky, calling down to him by name. She cheerfully asks if he's playing a game of tag, completely oblivious to the danger. He frantically agrees, clarifying that the stakes of this particular game are his own life. With a reluctant sigh, the girl decides she has no choice but to intervene. She launches herself towards the dragon, announcing that the game is now officially over. In a stunning display of power, she unleashes a devastating attack that completely overwhelms the massive creature. After her incredible display of power, the girl turns to Phi, checking if her playmate is unharmed. He lies on the ground, exhausted but safe, and manages to thank his powerful savior, Tyuko. A flashback reveals their shared past, showing they were born on the same day and have been friends since infancy. He remembers a time when he was the strong one, protecting a timid Tyuko from bullies and stray dogs. But now the roles have completely reversed, with her effortlessly saving him from a dragon. As they walk away, Phi can't help but feel a pang of jealousy, just as a sound rustles in the nearby bushes. Before they can react, another dragon bursts from the forest, flying straight towards them. Phi is horrified to see a second, equally ferocious dragon preparing to strike. Acting on pure instinct, he shoves Tyuko aside, putting himself directly in harm's way. The two friends stand braced for impact, facing the new threat that has just emerged from the shadows. He activates his Provoke skill, forcing the second dragon to target him exclusively. Tyuko watches from the sidelines, seemingly unbothered as Phi leads the beast away. He curses his terrible luck, wishing for a real cheat skill to fight back with. Phi runs for his life, lamenting that he can't even have a cool, heroic ending. Overwhelmed by the dragon's power, he accepts his fate with a pained expression. A cataclysmic blast obliterates the area, marking the end of his second life. Reincarnation number 3 begins, and this time he's granted the skill of clairvoyance. He realizes this new ability allows him to see the future and distant locations. In this life, he becomes a strategist, guiding a powerful hero to the Demon Lord's castle. The hero returns victorious but exhausted, completely unaware of Phi's critical assistance. Phi tearfully complains to the hero, frustrated that he didn't get to land the final blow on the Demon Lord. The hero, Bren, tries to console him, pointing out that their work isn't over yet. Phi clenches his fist, vowing that next time the glory will be all his. Bren smiles, completely trusting his partner and looking forward to their future adventures together. But Phi's clairvoyance suddenly activates, his eye glowing with a terrifying premonition. He foresees the supposedly defeated Demon Lord beginning to stir on its throne. The Demon Lord rises, its body glowing with malevolent energy, intent on a final, desperate act. The hero is paralyzed with shock, unable to react to the sudden turn of events. With a final roar of fury, the revived Demon Lord lunges forward for a last attack. Phi shoves the hero to safety, taking the full brunt of the Demon Lord's self-destructing blast. Lying on the ground, Fi curses his own foolishness as his life fades away. The hero, Bren, can only stare in horrified disbelief at his partner's sacrifice. Fi clenches his teeth in frustration, angry that his life is ending yet again. He tells Bren he truly believed this time he would accomplish something meaningful. As Fi collapses, Bren lets out a desperate, anguished cry for his fallen friend. His fourth reincarnation begins, granting him the skill of high-speed regeneration. Thanks to this new power, he finally lives a long, full life, passing away peacefully in old age. His granddaughter, Lulubelle, weeps uncontrollably, begging her beloved grandpa not to die. His son holds his hand, tearfully thanking him for everything he's done. A flashback reveals his son was an abandoned child, grateful that Fi gave him a family and a home. Faye tells his weeping family that being with them made him the happiest man alive. His granddaughter tearfully vows to study magic so she can one day bring him back. He gently tells her not to, insisting he has lived a full and satisfying life. But as he fades, he admits to his shocked family that he has one single regret. With his final breath, he wails that he never got to experience a truly overpowered life. He awakens once more, young and with a halo, in the familiar realm of broken pillars. With a weary sigh, he realizes he's standing before the giant hourglass yet again. The magnificent angel appears, her presence startling the all-too-familiar soul. She furiously confronts him, pointing to a vision of his peaceful death and demanding to know why he returned. He explains with a crazed look that at the very end, he realized he still wanted to be overpowered. The furious angel shoves him back into the chair, yelling at him for holding up the line for other souls. Completely fed up, she dismissively waves him off, just wanting him to get on with it already. In his fifth reincarnation, Fi realizes the enraged angel sent him away without even revealing his new skill. Relying on his old abilities, he ends up doing menial odd jobs for a high-ranking adventurer party. His new party members impatiently call out, wondering why their guide is causing a delay. The party leader orders Fi to gather the dropped loot, while the rest of the team takes a break. While picking up items, he laments that his support skills will never allow him to be a frontline hero. Noticing his frustration, the party's friendly mage calls down to him with a wave. She decides to help him, and the knight beside her agrees to tag along. As they head down the stairs, a massive monster bursts through the wall above them, ready to attack. Fi stares in disbelief as the monstrous creature emerges from a swirling vortex in the wall. The party looks up in terror as the mechanical centipede-like beast fully materializes, its teleportation ability recognized by the mage. The party leader panics, realizing they've encountered an S-rank threat they are completely unprepared to fight. He orders a full retreat as the colossal monster lunges down the stairs towards them. The mage and knight are paralyzed with fear, unable to move as the creature closes in. As the party leader urges them to escape, the friendly mage stumbles and falls to the ground. The knight desperately shouts for Fi to save himself, while the monster looms over their fallen comrade. But Fi stands firm, finally deciding he's tired of being a mere errand boy. The party leader grabs his two terrified companions, determined to escape the dungeon. In a shocking act of cowardice, the entire party abandons Fi, leaving him to face the S-rank monster alone. He reflects on his ultimate fantasy, to be the hero who could defeat such a monster in a single strike. A look of intense frustration crosses his face, the weight of his past failures pressing down. He recalls how his previous lives always ended with him serving as nothing more than bait to buy time. Overwhelmed by despair, he feels the familiar sting of hopelessness as tears well in his eyes. He questions the very purpose of his endless cycle of reincarnation, feeling utterly alone against the beast. Suddenly, a familiar voice reminds him that his greatest strength was always his refusal to give up. Another voice from his past chides him, questioning if he's forgotten his desire for a stylish exit. A third memory surfaces, recalling his promise that he would finally be the star of the show. A final, gentle voice reminds him of his vow to live without any more regrets. Surrounded by the spirits of his past allies, Fi finds a new resolve, ready to face his destiny. With a surge of determination, he affirms his ability to overcome this final trial. He desperately calls upon his mysterious fifth skill, hoping it will finally manifest. A sudden memory reveals the angel casually admitting she forgot to tell him something. He stares in disbelief as a massive summoning circle suddenly activates beneath him. The angel's voice echoes through his mind, finally revealing the blessing she forgot to mention. She reveals his fifth skill is summoning, and his powerful allies from past lives appear before him. The ancient golem, Danchua River, activates instantly, launching herself at the S-rank monster. The golem is revealed to be the legendary incomplete god Danchua River. The golem unleashes a cataclysmic strike, completely overwhelming the mechanical centipede. His childhood friend Tuco, the dragon hander, joins the assault, eager to clear out the pests. The hero king Bren arrives next, already complaining about having to slay another monster. A close-up reveals the determined face of the legendary hero king, ready for battle. He unleashes a devastating sword technique, shattering the very ground as he charges the beast. A fourth figure appears, the super high elf Lulubelle, eager to demonstrate the power she's gained through her studies. She fires a concentrated beam of magical energy, adding her incredible power to the coordinated assault. Fi stands before his 4 legendary allies, overcome with the sheer power he now commands. Tuco playfully reminds Fi that his favorite playmate has arrived to join the fun. The hero king grins, admitting he couldn't miss the chance to see Fi finally take the spotlight. Danchua River calmly greets her master, her loyalty unwavering across lifetimes. His granddaughter Lulubelle greets him cheerfully, before realizing with a shock that she's now older than her own grandpa. Fi rushes towards his allies, overwhelmed with emotion at their long-awaited reunion. He declares that with this legendary team, he'll finally show the world the true meaning of being overpowered. With renewed conviction, he believes this time, his ultimate dream will finally come true. Surrounded by his powerful friends, he confidently proclaims this will be his last and final reincarnation. He cheerfully thanks his summoned companions, ready to work alongside them once more. His happy reunion is cut short by a sudden, shocking realization. While the hero king cheers enthusiastically, the others react with a mix of confusion and stoicism. Lulubelle joyfully tackles him in a hug, affectionately calling him grandpa. She playfully teases him about his shrunken size, much to his flustered surprise. As she comments on his familiar grandpa scent, he awkwardly reminds her that he's technically a teenager again. Tuco looks on with a curious smile, asking if Fi had gotten married in a previous life. He clarifies to his childhood friend that he never married and wasn't related to Lulubelle by blood. Tuco processes this new information with a thoughtful, slightly wide-eyed expression. She then cheerfully reveals her strange plan to celebrate his potential marriage by flicking his forehead. Suddenly, the hero king Bren grabs Fi from behind in a boisterous reunion. Faye looks up as Bren enthusiastically asks how his old partner has been doing. He confirms he's been well, eagerly returning the question to his former comrade. Bren sweats nervously, admitting he blew through all his reward money from defeating the demon lord. He sheepishly confesses to a drunken castle-buying spree that left him drowning in debt. With a confident thumbs up, Bren declares he's thrilled to be summoned, as it means escaping his debt collectors. The ancient golem, Danchua River, finally gets Fi's attention, her voice echoing with formality. She bows her head slightly, expressing regret that she never had the chance to properly thank him. Faye looks back at her, a flicker of memory dawning in his eyes as he processes her words. He recalls the moment of his first death, realizing she is grateful for being freed from her ancient seal. Danchua River formally pledges her unwavering loyalty, ready to obey his every command. He asks about her well-being, and she confirms she has guarded the ruins since his demise. The golem appears taken aback when Fi suggests that she should also rely on him. With a confident grin, Fi insists that their partnership must be a two-way street. She stoically offers to be treated as a simple tool, prioritizing his convenience above all else. Faye firmly rejects this, declaring that he sees her not as a weapon, but as a valued companion. Visibly moved, Danchua River accepts his terms, vowing to stand by his side as a true companion. The hero king then cuts in, asking the newly formed team what their next plan of action is. Fi explains their first task is to report to the guild that the S-rank monster has been dealt with. He decides to wait outside the guild for them, knowing other adventurers will be glad the dungeon is safe again. Fi turns back in confusion, asking why his powerful new allies aren't coming with him. The group explains it's better for them to keep a low profile, since they're not exactly from around here. He considers their logic for a moment and reluctantly agrees that their point is valid. With a confident wave, Fi declares he'll handle the report alone and heads off towards the guild. His companions watch him leave, with Tiyuko pouting that she wanted to go with him. Fi bursts into the guild hall, only to be met by the shocked faces of the party that abandoned him. The party leader stares in disbelief, demanding to know how Fi possibly survived. Fi feigns ignorance, casually asking his former comrades why they look so panicked. Another adventurer explains that Azet's party had spread the word that he'd been killed by an S-rank monster. With a cheerful smile, Fi announces that he not only survived but actually defeated the beast. His former party members are left utterly speechless, unable to comprehend his impossible claim. The entire guild hall erupts into chaos as adventurers struggle to process the unbelievable news. The cowardly party stammers in disbelief, demanding to know who he claimed had defeated the monster. A thrill runs through Phi as he realizes this is the glorious, attention-grabbing moment he's always dreamed of. The crowd buzzes with speculation, wondering if a legendary S-rank hero has appeared among them. With a confident smirk, Phi finally claims the credit, declaring himself the one who defeated the S-rank threat. The guild hall stares in stunned silence, unable to process Phi's bold declaration. His former party members immediately accuse him of lying, insisting a mere porter couldn't defeat such a beast. Faye calmly retorts that if someone else had slain the monster, they would be the one standing there to report it. His simple logic stuns the crowd into silence as they realize the impossible might actually be true. The entire guild hall then explodes into a massive, raucous celebration for the new hero. Adventurers swarm him, questioning his sudden strength and hailing him as a potential S-rank hero. Phi is overcome with emotion, finally experiencing the recognition he's craved for 5 lifetimes. He collapses in a state of pure bliss, savoring the exhilarating thrill of being truly overpowered. Internally, he sends his heartfelt gratitude to his companions and even the exasperated angel. The celebration is interrupted as a guild staff member cautiously tries to get their attention. Lulubelle watches from afar, wryly noting that her grandpa is just saying whatever he wants. Meanwhile, Tuco finds the whole situation incredibly entertaining. The Hero King laughs, deciding Phi will be treating them all to dinner later. Danchua River logically points out that since they were summoned by his power, the victory is rightfully his. Outside, his companions bicker playfully while waiting for him to finish. But just as Phi basks in his glory, a hand firmly grabs his shoulder, stopping him in his tracks. An intense S-rank adventurer named Lavi steps forward, demanding to know if his story is true. She offers a personal recommendation for S-rank if he's telling the truth, but admits she has doubts, shocking Phi. Lavi then suggests there's a much simpler and more reliable way to verify his claim. She proposes they go inspect the monster's remains for proof, making Phi extremely nervous. Lavi points her weapon directly at Phi, issuing a bold challenge to fight her. She taunts him, suggesting that if he truly defeated an S-rank monster, then she should be no problem at all. Phi panics, knowing he stands no chance against a renowned S-rank adventurer like Lavi. He desperately concludes that any cowardly excuse is better than being utterly pulverized in a duel. His mind races for a way out, considering faking an illness or using any excuse to avoid the fight. He recalls the crowd's recent praise, their words echoing in his mind as he weighs his options. A moment of silent, intense deliberation follows as he struggles with his decision. Lavi watches him with a piercing gaze, patiently awaiting his response to her challenge. After a tense pause, Phi quietly accepts the duel, his mind made up. With a smirk, he confidently agrees to show her the true power of the hero who defeated the S-rank beast. His companions watch from a nearby window, their reactions ranging from enthusiastic cheers to utter confusion. Internally, Phi panics, knowing he has absolutely no chance of defeating the formidable S-rank adventurer. But then, a sudden realization strikes him as a desperate plan begins to form in his mind. He laments getting drunk on the crowd's praise, realizing he is completely screwed up. He quickly changes his strategy, deciding he doesn't need to win. He just needs to make it look like he did. His mind flashes back to his previous lives, considering how he might use his old, seemingly useless skills. He focuses on 2 specific abilities, Unlock and Clairvoyance, hoping they'll be enough. Lavi impatiently tells him to grab his sword, but Phi remains still, finalizing his risky gambit. Armed with only a simple tool, he knows he has just one chance to pull this off. With a look of fierce determination, he prepares to face Lavi, ready to execute his daring plan. Faye lets out a desperate cry, charging towards the S-rank adventurer. Lavi watches him silently, completely unfazed by his amateurish display. He secretly activates his clairvoyance, using future sight to predict her every move. His vision reveals Lavi's overwhelming speed, showing him a future where he is utterly defeated. He realizes that even knowing what's coming, his body is far too slow to react in time. A new idea forms. Instead of reacting to the future, he'll find a way to avoid it entirely. Banking on her predictable mastery, he slips past her lightning-fast strike at the perfect moment. Now in close, he prepares to execute the second, even riskier part of his plan. He knows he can't overpower her directly, so he aims for a completely unexpected maneuver. He uses her own momentum against her, creating the illusion that he is pushing her back. Instead of attacking her directly, he targets the clasps holding her formidable armor together. Lavi is left completely bewildered, unsure if he even managed to land a proper blow. He secretly activates his unlock ability, the true key to his entire gambit. In a stunning turn of events, her S-rank armor suddenly shatters and falls away from her. The crowd erupts in disbelief, completely unable to comprehend what they just witnessed. They question how a simple wooden sword could possibly break through legendary S-rank equipment. Internally, Fi celebrates with a triumphant grin, his impossible plan having worked perfectly. He cheerfully begins to explain the trick behind his seemingly impossible feat. He reveals he used unlock on her armor, then timed a fake slash to create the illusion of a powerful strike. Defeated by his cleverness, the S-rank adventurer silently concedes the duel. He stands over the defeated Lavi, who cries out from the impact as the crowd watches in awe. But Lavi gets up unimpressed, pointing out that he never actually landed a single blow. Faye panics, realizing his bluff has been called and the whole thing was just for show. He confirms to himself that the plan was never to hurt her, only to create a spectacle. The S-rank adventurer smirks, having already figured out his entire performance was a clever act. To his surprise, she gives his clever ruse a passing grade, leaving him utterly bewildered. Lavi then gracefully accepts her defeat, acknowledging that a loss is still a loss regardless of the method. She admits that he not only dodged her sword, but also managed to strip her armor without her even noticing. Her concession sends the crowd into a frenzy, hailing Fi as the guild's next legendary hero. Lavi explains her reasoning, revealing she believed in his potential and is now convinced of his skill. Lavi dismisses the details, stating that whether he was strong or just growing, the result speaks for itself. Her unexpected validation leaves Fi completely starstruck and flustered. The guild receptionist calls down, admitting his sudden display of power has left everyone stunned. He awkwardly tries to play it cool at the counter, claiming his strength is just the result of hard work. The receptionist then makes a stunning announcement. The guild wants to formally nominate him for S rank. His excitement fades as she explains the catch. He must first complete 3 A-rank quests to qualify. She cheerfully points out he's already cleared 2 A-rank quests while working for his former party. With a sly smile, the receptionist reveals she has the perfect final trial for him. She presents his last quest, an A-rank mission to eliminate a monster threatening the Komareya Empire. Fi reads the details with growing concern, realizing the quest sounds more like a full-scale invasion. The receptionist reveals the mission is a high-priority request, directly from the Imperial Knights. She explains that 2 previous A-rank parties had already attempted the dangerous quest. Fi is horrified to learn that both of those highly skilled parties were completely annihilated. Because of the extreme danger, the guild is now considering upgrading it to an official S-rank quest. He sweats nervously, realizing his final A-rank trial is actually an S-rank mission in disguise. The receptionist cheerfully confirms his fears, her smile unwavering. She puts all the pressure on him, declaring he's the only one who can handle it after his recent victory. With his companions watching, Fi forces a pained thumbs up, accepting the impossible mission. He turns to leave the guild, a heavy weight on his shoulders as he heads out the door. Just as he steps outside, a familiar voice calls out to him, stopping him in his tracks. He's surprised to find his companions waiting for him just outside the guild hall. Lulubelle comments on Lavi's kindness, while Fi nervously agrees and Bren watches with a sharp gaze. Tuco eagerly asks if they're heading to the Empire for their next mission. Fi explains he still has to file paperwork so they have some time to kill. He then offers a bag of money to a very confused Hero King Bren. Fi clarifies it's Bren's share of the reward for defeating the monster, leaving the king shocked. Bren reluctantly accepts the payment, admitting that it's a fair split. With a sly grin, the Hero King reveals he picked up a town pamphlet for them to explore. Tuco excitedly suggests they all go hang out together while they wait. Her enthusiasm translates into her forcefully dragging a stunned Bren along with her. Lulubelle panics, trying to stop Fi from handing over so much cash to the Hero King. As Tuco drags him away, Bren argues that's how money is made, earning a sharp rebuke from his captor. Fi wisely decides to entrust the reward money to the ever-reliable Danchua River instead. Lulubelle and Tayuko turn back, wondering why they aren't getting a share of the loot. He bluntly tells them they just wasted on something foolish, causing Tuco to pout. With the money situation handled, Fi heads off on his own, leaving his companions behind. Later, while looking out a window, he pauses to reflect on his new team. A sudden memory strikes him, a lesson learned from a world he can't quite place. He realizes a team composed entirely of powerhouse cleanup hitters is a recipe for disaster. A wave of dread washes over him as he wonders if his friends will accidentally destroy the town in his absence. Chuko excitedly asks her companions where they should go first, giving Danchua River a new nickname. The ancient golem is confused by her new name, but Tyuko insists it's because her full title is too long. The rest of the party declares they'll be sticking with Danchua River, since she's the one holding all the money. Danchua River admits she's unsure how to spend her time, having only ever known the solitude of the ruins. Chuko immediately offers to give the ancient weapon a grand tour of the town. The Hero King enthusiastically agrees, declaring it a fantastic idea. Visibly touched by their kindness, Danchua River gratefully accepts their offer. Lulubelle chimes in from above, promising to introduce the golem to all their favorite spots. One of the companions eagerly raises a hand, demanding to be the first to pick a location. Chuko immediately drags the group into a clothing store, declaring their first stop is a shopping spree. A shopkeeper welcomes them as Chuko enthusiastically offers to help Danchua River find a new outfit. Chuko playfully declares that while the golem is cute, her ancient attire is hopelessly out of style. She brings an armful of clothes, ushering the stoic golem towards the fitting room for a makeover. Inside, Lulubelle and Bren marvel at the fitting room's surprising comfort and luxury. After a moment, the curtain is dramatically pulled back to reveal the results of their efforts. Danchua River steps out in a stunning new dress, her transformation proudly presented by Chuko. Both Lulubelle and the Hero King are left speechless, completely captivated by her new look. But Chuko isn't finished, excitedly announcing she has even more outfits for the golem to model. The fashion show continues with Danchua River trying on both a cool, edgy style and a sweet, frilly one. Dressed in another new outfit, the ancient weapon blushes, quietly wondering if Phi would approve. The group enthusiastically agrees that her new look is absolutely perfect. They are certain that Phi will be completely captivated by her new appearance. But in an instant, the beautiful dress is torn to shreds, leaving the golem and Tyuko stunned. Chuko's expression shifts as she advises the golem against wearing that particular outfit. She snatches the dress away, forbidding Danchua River from wearing anything that might charm Phi. Lulubelle and Bren suggest that Tyuko should focus on finding an outfit for herself instead. A flustered Tyuko reluctantly agrees, turning away with a pout. As the group leaves the shop, a panicked employee discovers the damaged merchandise. The employee holds up the ruined dress, horrified by the state it's in. Another staff member points out that the single ruined dress is the least of their problems. A shopkeeper explains that the damage has already been covered, holding up a replacement outfit. The other employee is horrified, revealing the dress was made of incredibly expensive and durable wyvern leather. She lets out a cry of despair, overwhelmed by the massive financial loss. She recalls ordering the material because it was advertised as being immune to damage from monsters or adventurers. Furious, she vows to track down the supplier who sold her the faulty material as the group leaves the store. Back on the street and loaded with shopping bags, Chuko eagerly asks her companions for their next destination. Lulubelle steps up, announcing it's her turn to lead them to a place she's been dying to see. She gazes in awe at the entrance, her eyes sparkling with anticipation for what's inside. With a grand gesture, she reveals their destination is a magnificent, sprawling bookstore. She spins in delight, completely captivated by the aroma of ink and parchment filling the air. She explains that reading local books is the best way to learn about the world's culture. The ancient golem feels intimidated by the endless shelves of complex books, unsure if she can even read them. Lulubelle reassures her, suggesting they start with beautiful picture books that are easier to follow. She pulls out a picture book about a fairy queen and invites the golem to read it with her. They begin reading the story, which starts with two fairy characters in a faraway land. Danchua River becomes completely captivated by the charming fairy tale unfolding in the book. Lulubelle is overcome with emotion, wiping away tears after finishing the touching story. Still sniffling, she turns to ask the ancient golem what she thought of the book. Danchua River blushes, admitting with a shy smile that she found the story utterly fascinating. Delighted by her friend's reaction, Lulubelle gathers a massive pile of books and decides to buy them all. The bookstore employee thanks them for their massive purchase as the group exits. His colleague watches them leave, wondering if a particularly infamous book will be returned. The shop owner reveals that the book in question is cursed, designed to drain the reader's mana. He explains that countless mages have tried and failed to read it, collapsing from magical exhaustion. Mysteriously, the book always finds its way back to the shelf after its reader is defeated. The owner cheekily admits that despite its danger, the cursed book is one of their best-selling items. His colleague then drops a bombshell. Lulubelle had just read the entire book aloud, leaving the owner speechless. Outside, the group stands with their haul, pondering their next stop on their town adventure. Bren complains about their spending spree on clothes and books, looking completely drained. He then declares there's only one logical destination left for them to visit. With a crazed look, Bren decides their next stop is a casino, determined to win back their money in a single gamble. Dantua River questions his loud strategy, but Bren claims his shouting can disrupt the casino's anti-cheating measures. He dramatically releases the ball onto the roulette wheel, putting all his faith in this one spin. Lulubelle advises the stoic golem to ignore the ravings of a gambling addict as Bren continues his antics. The ball finally lands, and both Bren and Dantua River stare in disbelief at the winning number. The Hero King erupts in a joyous victory cry, showered in a mountain of coins after his risky bet pays off. But his celebration is cut short when a shady figure approaches from behind, brandishing a sharp blade. Lulubelle reveals Bren simply copied Dantua River's bet, while Tiuko admits she was secretly hoping he'd lose. The sore loser demands Bren's winnings, but the Hero King glares back with sharp-toothed fury. Bren hypocritically tells the man to earn his own money, earning a smug look from Lulubelle. The sore loser corners the group in an alley, declaring that their excuses won't work anymore. He aggressively demands their winnings, but the Hero King just looks tired of the whole situation. As Bren's hand rests on his sword, both Tiuko and Lulubelle's eyes narrow with deadly intent. With incredible speed, the Hero King unsheathes his legendary blade, ready to end the confrontation. The foolish man lets out a battle cry and charges headfirst towards the legendary hero, but Tiuko watches in shock as Bren's expression reveals he's not the one attacking. The charging man is suddenly lifted into the air, his life force seemingly drained by an invisible power. Bren stares in disbelief, realizing someone else has intervened in their fight. The attacker's weapon completely disintegrates, unable to withstand the mysterious assault. As the defeated man collapses, Bren sternly tells him that he's had enough of his antics. The defeated man's younger siblings rush to his side, calling out to him in concern. His siblings reveal they brought all their savings, hoping he found the medicine for their sick mother. The children sadly admit that their combined funds are still not enough to afford the life-saving medicine. The weight of his failure crushes the man, his face contorted in a mask of pure despair. Phi watches the heartbreaking scene from a distance, his expression unreadable as a voice calls his name. His companions suddenly return, with Tiuko and Bren crashing into him in a boisterous reunion. Faye calmly welcomes back the entire group, who have finally reassembled after their day out. Dantua River expresses her gratitude, admitting she had a wonderful time experiencing the town's novelties. Tiuko cheerfully notes their extravagant spending, with Bren looking particularly satisfied with their day. Phi gazes over the town with a gentle smile, taking in the peaceful end to a chaotic day. He realizes his worries about his chaotic team fighting were a complete waste of energy. Phi announces they'll take the day to relax before heading to the Empire tomorrow. Meanwhile, in a grand hall, a cloaked figure kneels before a distant throne. The Imperial Knight Commander on the throne listens, part of a scheme to deceive adventurers. A shadowy figure from the side praises the kneeling subordinate for setting everything up. The superior ominously declares that the next sacrifice will be prepared shortly. The scene cuts to Phi, who is screaming in absolute terror. It's revealed Tiuko is carrying him at breakneck speed, ignoring his desperate pleas to be let down. As Phi spots their destination, Lulubelle cheekily asks if she should just drop the Hero King. The group finally arrives, looking down upon the sprawling Comaria Empire. Lulubelle admires the beautiful city, while Phi recovers from their dizzying high-speed journey. She then confirms their mission is to defeat the monsters threatening the Empire. Phi is thrilled, realizing this quest is his final step to achieving the coveted S rank. As they walk through the streets, the group notices a strange lack of damage for a city under siege. Phi decides their first order of business is to meet the Knight Commander who issued the quest. The camera pans over the path leading towards the imposing Imperial Castle. They arrive at the castle, its massive walls and towers looming over them. Tiuko leads the charge, enthusiastically announcing their arrival to the entire castle. A contingent of knights greets them from a distance, formally welcoming the adventurers. The party looks up the grand staircase, preparing to meet the person in charge. A man in ornate armor introduces himself as Mihail, the Imperial Knight Commander, and Phi steps forward to report for the mission. Phi's companions enthusiastically introduce themselves one by one to the commander. With a sly smile, Mikhail gestures towards a door, announcing it's time for their monster subjugation strategy meeting. The commander confirms that Phi is the party leader, to which he nervously agrees. Phi beams with excitement, thrilled by the prospect of a cool and professional strategy session. The scene shifts dramatically, signaling the official start of their important meeting. Mikhail then gestures to a table, offering the Empire's finest tea to everyone except the party leader. He offers a flimsy excuse that the meeting room is too small, asking the others to wait. Chuko complains about being left behind, while Bren eagerly accepts the offered refreshments. The rest of the party peeks over the table, watching with suspicion as Phi is led away. As they walk, the commander begins to explain the nature of the monster threatening the Empire. He reveals its name is Rob, accompanied by a disturbing, glitch-like image of a young girl. Phi finds the name underwhelming, thinking it sounds far less threatening than other beasts he's known. But the commander insists Rob was so vicious that the Empire's knights stood no chance against it. Phi grows suspicious, pointing out that for such a powerful monster, the city seems completely unharmed. The commander clarifies that instead of mindless destruction, Rob presented the Empire with a specific condition. His intense gaze hints at the dark and terrible nature of the monster's demand. Faye looks over the peaceful city, questioning what kind of condition could lead to this strange outcome. With a chilling smile, the commander confirms Phi's unasked question, his demeanor turning sinister. He then reveals the horrifying truth. The monster demanded regular human sacrifices to spare the city. Phi's face contorts in shock, unable to process the commander's dark confession. He confronts the commander, demanding to know if they truly sacrifice their own people. The commander coldly clarifies that sacrificing citizens would defeat the purpose of protecting the nation. He then reveals the true victims of this scheme, the unsuspecting adventurers hired to fight the monster. Back at the table, his companions' expressions shift from relaxed to dangerously alert. The commander stands bathed in a self-righteous glow, justifying his actions for the good of the Empire. He then pleads with Phi not to resent them for the betrayal that is about to unfold. Phi recoils in horror, realizing he has walked directly into a trap. With his sword drawn, the commander unleashes a powerful holy technique, filling the hall with light. A blinding blast of energy engulfs Phi, who can only watch in terror as the attack consumes him. Phi realizes that even with his future sight, the commander's attack is impossible to predict. The blinding holy light sends him flying across the hall, completely disoriented. The commander stands over a defeated Phi, assuring him that this attack isn't meant to be fatal. He coldly explains that the monster, Rob, demands its sacrifices be delivered alive. Meanwhile, Tiyuko smirks as the rest of the party finds themselves completely surrounded by Imperial knights. She casually mentions their tea was poisoned, much to the Hero King's horrified surprise. A knight confirms their betrayal, ordering the group to surrender and become the next sacrifices. Lulubelle cheekily suggests that since the knights aren't monsters, they should probably be spared. Danchua River expresses concern, admitting she has difficulty restraining her immense power. The nervous knights issue a final warning, unaware of the legendary power they've just cornered. Tuko scoffs at the idea of resistance, clarifying that this is something else entirely. She casually dismisses their actions as merely brushing off some dust, not a real fight. Meanwhile, Phi groans on the floor, still reeling from the commander's incapacitating blow. He awakens to find himself lying on a strange altar in the middle of a vast, empty chamber. The commander's voice echoes through the hall, revealing this is the sacrificial chamber for the monster Rob. Mikhail coolly informs him that his companions will soon be joining him as fellow sacrifices. The knights try to justify their betrayal, claiming it's the only way to save their empire. With a sharp grin, Phi mocks their twisted sense of duty, sacrificing adventurers to protect their citizens. He claps his hands together, completely unimpressed by their cheap justifications. The commander steps forward, declaring that he alone bears the full responsibility for this dark decision. Phi grits his teeth in frustration, furious that he walked right into their obvious trap. He finds a small silver lining, realizing they at least need him alive for the sacrifice. Looking around the vast chamber, he puts his faith in his companions to eventually rescue him. But a sudden, terrible realization begins to dawn on him, casting doubt on his plan. He questions his own overpowered status, feeling utterly helpless and weak in his current state. His inner monologue reveals his shame. He was tricked, captured, and is now just waiting to be saved. A voice inside his head scolds him, calling the idea of waiting for a rescue pathetic. Fai's resolve hardens as he decides that even if he's weak, he will at least act strong. With a defiant cry, he shatters his restraints, declaring this is his true definition of being overpowered. The Knight Commander stares in utter disbelief as Fai smirks, completely free from his bonds. Fai cheekily suggests his power comes from a different, less forgiving god. The commander wonders aloud if Fai's sudden strength is the result of a divine blessing. Mikhail dismisses the thought, deciding the origin of Fai's power is ultimately irrelevant. He raises his holy sword, vowing that Fai will not escape the sacrificial chamber. Fei calmly admits he can't judge the morality of their desperate actions to save the Empire, but he confidently declares that they have undoubtedly made a grave mistake. The commander glares, demanding to know what he means by his cryptic warning. With a piercing gaze, Fai reveals they've just angered someone far more dangerous than the monster Rob. Just as the commander tries to process this, a knight bursts in with an urgent report. The knight frantically announces that a single adventurer is tearing through the palace, leaving Mikhail stunned. The battered knight stumbles into the chamber, barely able to stand after his desperate escape. The scene reveals the hero king standing triumphantly amidst a group of easily dispatched knights. The remaining Imperial guards tremble in terror, utterly paralyzed by the power of Fai's companions. Lulubelle looks down on them with a condescending smirk, reminding them they brought this fate upon themselves. Back in the chamber, Fai eagerly challenges the commander to a rematch, vowing to defeat him personally. The Knight Commander remains completely unfazed, his expression one of cold, unwavering resolve. Mikhail dismissively orders his remaining men to go deal with the intruders while he handles Fai. He promises to join them after he's finished, preparing to face Fai one-on-one. With the rematch set, Fai prepares for an epic battle, while the commander calmly plans to immobilize him. But in the very next instant, Fai is sent flying into a wall, utterly and instantly defeated. The commander confidently declares that Fai won't be escaping his grasp this time. Fai is mortified, realizing how embarrassing it is to be defeated right after his bold declaration. He pulls himself up, still pinned by daggers, and weakly asks for another round. Mikhail dismisses him, stating that no matter how many times they fight, the result will be the same. The commander grows impatient, deciding to go gather the other sacrifices himself. He wonders what's taking so long, having sent plenty of troops to deal with Fai's companions. Back in the guest room, Tuco's playful demeanor vanishes, replaced by a look of cold fury. A mysterious cat-eared figure suddenly bursts into the sacrificial chamber, demanding to know what's happening. She angrily reminds the commander that she specifically requested 4 sacrifices, not just 1. Mikhail stares in terror, stammering out the name of the monster he serves, Lord Rob. Fai stares in utter shock, realizing the dreaded monster Rob is actually a small cat-eared girl. He quickly deduces she's a powerful demon, not a mindless beast, and far beyond the knight's ability to handle. The terrified knight commander apologizes profusely, but Rob casually tells him to hurry up with the other sacrifices. Losing her patience, Rob decides she'll just take some of the commander's knights as compensation instead. Mikhail desperately begs her to reconsider as she begins to walk away with her new chosen victims. She leans in close, threatening to take innocent citizens if he continues to fail her. Pinned to the wall, Fai watches the tense standoff, a sudden idea beginning to form. He grits his teeth, a look of fierce determination replacing his earlier shock and helplessness. Rob finally notices him, mockingly congratulating the commander for managing to capture at least 1 sacrifice. But Tuco suddenly appears, unimpressed by the demon and cheekily informing her that flattery won't save her. Pinned to the wall, Fai grits his teeth, pushing his power to its absolute maximum. He decides that since negotiations have failed, he must risk everything on one final gambit. But the Knight Commander suddenly intervenes, unleashing a massive holy beam attack at the demon. The demon Rob turns to face the incoming blast, her expression shifting from surprise to annoyance. With a casual flick of her wrist, she effortlessly deflects the commander's ultimate technique. Both Fai and the Knight Commander stare in utter disbelief, stunned by her overwhelming power. Rob glares down at the commander, questioning his foolish attempt to attack her. Seizing the opportunity, Fai shatters his restraints and lunges toward the distracted commander. The commander is sent flying into a wall with incredible force, crying out as Tuco watches the scene unfold. Tuco casually explains that she tried to hold back, but the commander was sent flying anyway. Rob glares at the defeated commander, annoyed that she has to handle things herself. Fi stares in disbelief, shocked that the powerful Knight Commander was defeated in a single blow. With a burst of speed, Tuco charges directly at the demon, ready for a fight. She launches a powerful kick, reasoning that defeating Rob is the same as defeating the commander. But Rob effortlessly catches the attack with one hand, stopping Tuco's assault cold. The demon scoffs at her logic, declaring that if she couldn't beat Mihail, she has no hope of winning. Fi realizes Rob is too fast to track even with future sight as Tuco is sent crashing into a wall. The chamber is rocked by the sheer force of their clash, leaving Fi and the commander stunned. Both Fi and Mihail look on in awe, surrounded by the dust and debris of the battle. Fi sighs in exhaustion as a new, unfamiliar voice calls out from a massive shadow looming over him. Lulubelle arrives with a casual apology, blaming a minor injury for her tardiness. The demon Rob spots the newcomer, mockingly asking if she's another willing sacrifice. Lulubelle calmly steps down, declaring she'll have to be careful not to overdo it this time. She launches herself at the demon with blinding speed, her foot aimed for a devastating kick. A massive explosion rocks the chamber as Lulubelle's attack makes a powerful impact. Fi can only stare in disbelief, completely stunned by the force of her assault. The demon Rob is sent hurtling across the room, landing in a heap of rubble as Lulubelle smirks. Lulubelle suddenly finds herself trapped inside a crystalline prison, her expression shifting to surprise. The demon Rob dismisses Lulubelle's power, explaining it's not a divine blessing but a simple spell. Rob questions the nature of Lulubelle's ability, noting the lack of any chanting or magic circles. Lulubelle stands calmly amidst the chaos, clarifying that she does indeed chant. She reveals that for her, every single step she takes is a part of her incantation. Even a simple gesture, like brushing her hair, contributes to her powerful spells. With a confident wink, she explains that every blink is a chant, shattering the crystal prison around her. The demon Rob is left utterly speechless, completely baffled by this unconventional form of magic. A blinding flash of light suddenly erupts from Rob's position, a consequence of Lulubelle's constant spellcasting. A massive beam of energy shoots out from the Imperial Castle, piercing the sky. The citizens below look up in terror as a massive explosion rocks the entire castle. The blast sends a colossal pillar of light and smoke billowing into the sky above the Empire. Fi and the Knight Commander can only stare in absolute shock, completely overwhelmed by the display of power. The demon Rob is sent flying from the blast, looking more impressed than injured as Tuco watches from the side. Lulubelle calmly explains that skipping so much of a chant would normally cause a spell to fail completely. She looks down at the recovering demon, deciding that against this opponent she no longer needs to hold back. With a hand covering one eye, Lulubelle focuses her immense power for the next devastating assault. She issues a final warning to the demon, telling her to brace for the full force of her magic. Fi can only watch in utter disbelief, his shocked reflection caught in a shard of broken crystal. In an instant, Lulubelle closes the distance, grabbing the demon's face to unleash a point-blank attack. Both Fi and the Knight Commander are frozen in shock, witnessing the raw power of the elf's magic. The demon is sent reeling from the impact, her hood knocked back as she stumbles. But Tuco suddenly appears behind the demon, cheekily announcing it's her turn to return the favor. Tuco lands a devastating kick, leaving the demon Rob momentarily stunned by the force of the blow. But Rob recovers instantly, catching Lulubelle's arm and admitting she may have underestimated the elf's power. Lulubelle simply smiles, explaining that her specialty is healing magic, making such injuries trivial. Tuco watches in disbelief, certain she had landed a critical blow, only to see Lulubelle completely unharmed. Fi realizes Lulubelle's regenerative abilities are on a completely different level than his own. From the rubble, the demon Rob declares that she no longer needs to restrain her power against such a foe. Lulubelle agrees, acknowledging that the time for holding back is over for both of them. She warns the demon to prepare for a serious counterattack as her power begins to surge. With a single step, Lulubelle unleashes another devastating magical strike across the chamber. The demon Rob instantly recognizes the movement as another incantation and rushes to intercept the attack. With a single step, Lulubelle's shoe crumbles, channeling immense power into her next move. A complex magic circle materializes behind her, signaling the start of a devastating spell. The demon Rob crosses her arms defensively, her expression a mix of shock and excitement. Lulubelle's spell collides with Rob's power, creating a blinding explosion of energy. The demon grits her teeth, barely managing to hold her ground against the relentless magical onslaught. Another step from Lulubelle sends Rob flying backwards, crying out from the force of the blow. Rob retaliates by summoning a wall of jagged ice, hoping to stop the elf's advance. But Lulubel's next step unleashes a wave of fire, effortlessly shattering the icy defense. The demon is pummeled by a relentless barrage of spells, unable to find an opening. Rob realizes with dawning horror that Lulubel's magic defies all logic, leaving her completely immobilized. With a final, devastating step, Lulubel unleashes a spell that completely overwhelms the demon Rob. The once feared monster is left utterly defeated, while Lulubel casually adjusts her hair in victory. An old elf suddenly appears, commending Lulubel for making the difficult battle look like a total breeze. Lulubel then notices a young boy with a scratch, kindly offering to patch him up. The boy is stunned as her healing magic instantly erases his injury, leaving not even a scar. She winks, proudly explaining that healing is actually her greatest magical talent. Visibly moved by her kindness, the young boy looks down with a bashful and emotional expression. The old elf then playfully teases Lulubel, reminding her of a time she accidentally blew up houses with her uncontrolled power. He proudly reflects on his granddaughter's unique talent for using physical movements as incantations. The young boy joins in, enthusiastically cheering for Lulubel and demanding the old elf praise her more. Lulubel humbly dismisses her power, claiming she's only truly exceptional at healing magic. Faye gives her a grateful thumbs up, sincerely thanking her for saving all of them. She accepts his gratitude with a bright, cheerful smile, happy to have helped. A question hangs in the air as they stand amidst the wreckage her power has created. The old elf admits his embarrassment at being saved, while Lulubel playfully insists he can always count on her. She holds him close, declaring that in this world they are all the family they have. The two share a warm, heartfelt smile, their deep bond evident in the quiet moment. But across the ruined chamber, a faint stirring signals the demon Rob is beginning to recover. The once feared monster sits up in a daze, completely bewildered by her sudden defeat. Faye casually points out she was knocked out cold, leaving the flustered demon utterly mortified. The demon Rob stares in astonishment, discovering that every single one of her wounds has vanished. Lulubel casually takes credit, explaining she not only healed the demon but also erased her old scars. A baffled Rob demands to know why they would bother healing their defeated enemy. Faye and Tuco loom over the demon with intimidating glares, revealing they have a lot of questions for her. Lulubel's smile turns chillingly sweet as she asks if the demon will be answering their questions. The once feared demon is reduced to a small, whimpering creature, completely intimidated by the party. Faye begins the interrogation, demanding to know why she was kidnapping humans and gathering sacrifices. Rob insists she doesn't know much, claiming she was just following orders. She vaguely recalls the plan involved recreating a powerful demon relic, perhaps a mask, that was stolen by humans. With a shrug, she downplays her role, insisting she's just a low-ranking grunt in the grand scheme of things. Faye is stunned, struggling to comprehend how the formidable demon could be considered a mere underling. They deduce the demons are using human sacrifices as test subjects, a twisted form of revenge for the stolen relic. Lulubel connects the dots, realizing this means the kidnapped adventurers could still be alive. The demon cheekily confirms their theory, adding that the adventurers are safe for now. With Chuko's support, Faye decides their next move is to visit the guild for more information. On Faye's command, Lulubel instantly binds the demon, who cries out as she's completely immobilized. As the party prepares to depart for the guild, the defeated commander desperately calls for them to wait. The weary commander looks up, questioning why he isn't being arrested along with the demon. Faye looks back, genuinely puzzled as he asks why they would ever arrest him. The distraught commander insists he must be punished, confessing again to his betrayal of the adventurers. Faye dismisses the commander's betrayal, casually recalling that it even happened. He turns away with his companions, declaring he's already moved on from the whole ordeal. Lulubel offers a knowing look, acknowledging the commander acted to protect his nation. The captured demon confirms the previous adventurers are alive, as they were too weak to be useful sacrifices. The commander is left utterly stunned by their complete lack of resentment. Faye gives a casual wave, admitting he can respect the commander's difficult choice. He then reveals his true motive, avoiding the hassle of writing a complicated incident report. With a final, cheerful goodbye, the party leaves the commander standing in the ruins. The bewildered commander calls out to Faye, unable to comprehend their forgiveness. Overwhelmed by their unexpected mercy, Mihail clutches his chest as his composure finally breaks. The commander offers his heartfelt thanks as the group departs, leaving him alone amidst the destruction. The scene shifts to the Adventurers Guild, the party's next destination for information. Inside, two adventurers wonder about Phi's whereabouts, learning he's on a quest in the Empire. They decide to brief him on some important news as soon as he returns. A smug-looking third man joins them, hinting that a special event is about to begin. Elsewhere, two other guild members pin their hopes on Phi, their new rising star. The event is revealed to be a massive guild competition held in a grand coliseum. Phi's party remains blissfully unaware, laughing as they carry their struggling captive along.